You know, in construction, the whole point is to build something that lasts, right? But what happens when the very process of building is actually tearing down your profits and your people? Well, today we're going to open up the new playbook for how to build a construction business that actually thrives without all the burnout.
So let me ask you this. Does this feel familiar? You win a bid. The numbers on paper look fantastic, but by the time the project wraps up, that profit is just vanished. It's like it disappeared into thin air. So where's it all going?
Look, if that hits close to home, you are definitely not alone. I love this quote from a construction executive who just put it so bluntly. He said, "Projects are losing money because they were set up to fail from the very beginning." This isn't about one mistake on the job site, it's about a broken system.
And the data, well, the data really backs us up. The Construction Industry Institute did a study and found that a staggering 74% of projects, 3 out of every 4, that kick off without proper planning end up with huge productivity losses. This right here, this is the moment your profit starts to evaporate.
So yeah, this isn't just about a bad quarter or a string of bad luck. We're talking about a systemic problem, a constant state of chaos that's costing you way more than just money.
So where does all this chaos even come from? Well, a lot of the time, it starts with something that seems pretty harmless on the surface. We call it administrative tool sprawl. Just picture a digital job site where all your tools are scattered everywhere with absolutely no organization.
I mean, does this look familiar? Your teams are probably bouncing between 5, maybe more, different platforms for a single project. You've got one for this, another for that, and none of them talk to each other. It just creates friction, rework, and so many chances for really expensive mistakes.
And this fragmentation, it's not just an annoyance. It has a massive, and I mean massive, financial impact. We were talking about $30 to $40 billion in losses every single year, just in the US construction industry alone.
And all that operational chaos, it leads directly to financial chaos. You end up riding this crazy revenue roller coaster. One month you're flush with cash, the next you're scrambling to make payroll. And that is just no way to build a business. It makes it impossible to plan, to hire, to grow with any kind of confidence.
But you know, the damage isn't just on the balance sheet. The real, true cost of all this chaos is the toll it takes on your most valuable asset, your people.
And the numbers here, they paint a really grim picture. A recent survey showed that 64% of construction workers have dealt with anxiety or depression. That is not just a statistic, you guys. That is a workforce that is crying out for help.
And a huge piece of this crisis, it comes down to something we call the dual role trap. And you know who's caught right in the middle? Your most experienced leaders, your best people.
So what is this trap? Well, think about it. We take our best field supervisors, our technical experts, the people who know how to build, and we drown them in administrative work they were never trained for and frankly don't want to do. The result is predictable: burnout, decision fatigue, and a mass exodus of the very people we need the most. Okay, so that's the painful cycle of financial and human cost. But here's the good news. It does not have to be this way. There is a clear path to reclaiming control over your business and your life.
Now, the knee-jerk reaction is usually, let's get more software. But honestly, that just adds to the tool sprawl. The real answer isn't more software. It's a fundamental shift in thinking. It's about moving from more tools to smarter, dedicated support.
And that's exactly where a construction project virtual assistant comes in. Now, this isn't just another admin. This is a dedicated professional whose entire job is to bring operational clarity and drive what we call connected execution all the way from the initial bid to the final closeout. So, how does this actually work? Well, it boils down to 4 key steps. First, they unify all that disconnected data. Second, they take that huge administrative burden off your field leaders. Third, they drive proactive communication so everyone's on the same page. And finally, they make sure closeout is something you're doing every single day, not some mad scramble at the very end.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but what does it look like in the real world? Let me share a few quick examples of how Virtual Nexgen Solutions is helping firms just like yours turn things around.
All right, first up, a concrete subcontractor down in Miami. They were stuck big time in that feast or famine cycle we talked about. Their virtual assistant came in and built a systematic way to track leads and get proposals out the door. The result? A 40% more stable monthly revenue. They finally got off that roller coaster.
Next, let's go to Austin. A general contractor there was watching their profits just fade away because of messy bid handoffs. Their VA standardized the whole process, making sure those critical conversations happened right from day one. And what happened? They protected their initial profit margins on 3 consecutive projects. No more profit fade.
And one more. A commercial framing firm in Denver was really struggling with foreman burnout and turnover. A virtual assistant took over all those administrative headaches, the daily reports, the RFI tracking, the scheduling coordination. The impact was immediate. Their supervisors got back over 10 hours a week, time they could spend actually building, not buried in paperwork.
So really, the choice is pretty clear. You can keep going with the chaos, or you can make the decision to take back control.
I mean, look at the two realities. On one side, you've got this endless cycle of reactive firefighting with margins that are always eroding and people who are just constantly burnt out. On the other side, proactive control, protected profits, and real sustainable growth.
At the end of the day, change is coming one way or another. The only real question is, which side of this divide do you want your business to be on?
So, if you are ready to stop the profit fade, end the burnout cycle for good, and get back to doing what you love, it's time to reclaim your margins and reclaim your time. The path to control really does start with one simple conversation. Thanks so much for tuning in.